Hey, I just want to do a quick video on a water tank setup, water storage tank. This is if you do not have a well and you want a standalone water tank system. There's lots of videos out there for setting up a water storage tank. However, they all involve a well, but my well is dry, so I'm on a water haul. And there's no videos, and this is kind of important because I messed up when I initially installed it. Right, that gray piece right there is a check valve. It's a one-way valve, and you need to have that at the bottom of the tank. So you want to put your cutoff valve, and right after that you put your check valve, one-way flow of water valve, and you want that at the bottom, and that prevents water from backflowing into the tank and causing your pump to short cycle. It'll run, get up the pressure, cut out, and you'll probably hear a bloop 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 bloop, and that's water going backwards back into the tank, and you don't want that. So my pump is nice and quiet right now, and I'm up to 50 psi. So let me pause this and we'll go inside and I'll show you my setup. Now this is a 2,500 gallon poly tank that I just purchased. Had it installed. Make sure you put, for 2,500 gallons, this is my first fill up. So I put about a cup of bleach in there. And I think in the future I don't really even need that much, just to keep it disinfected. But you do need to keep it sterilized, kill all bacteria, especially in the summertime. That warm water will breed bacteria and you know, E. coli and all that bad stuff. So let me pause it real quick. Okay, so I'm back. There's a water line coming through the wall into my well pump, shallow well pump. That's all you need. This one just happened to have, I got this one because it was already set up, had a pressure tank and a gauge on it and a regulator. So it was all in one. However, I don't think I needed a pressure tank, but I have one, so I'm utilizing it. Now you do need a pressure tank, but this is a 5 gallon pressure tank. I don't know if that would have been, how adequate that would have been. I know this one, I think this one's 80, maybe even more. Might be more, 80 or 120. It's a big tank, and it's plumbed in on the pressure side. This outlet going to the house. Now make sure you put some unions in closer to the pump you can get, the better. There's one here. This is outlet. I need to put one on the inlet side. I'll do that later. And I put another one after my water filter, and that's important too, is to run a water filter. I have a 5 micron carbon block filter, and that will remove the chlorine and the bleach that I put in the tank, so you won't have that chlorine odor. I got to change that filter. This is a brand new filter. This isn't the carbon filter. This is the filter that came with it. It's still 5 micron. However, it's only gonna do sediment. You know, that's really it, dirt, sediment. That's it. And I figured, you know, let me go ahead and just clean out the bottom of the tank. And you can already see it was really white. Now it's kind of getting a little brownish. And this particular filter, I got this at Lowe's, by the way, and this is what I really like, because I didn't have to buy cutoff valves. You know, normally you have to buy a cutoff valve for this side, a cutoff valve for that side. That way when you change the filter, you got, you know, turn them off. This has one built in. It has a off. Right now it's in filter. Then it has off, and it also has a bypass. So that way you can, you know, turn it off. I'm not sure what you do the bypass for. I'm not sure if that you can have that bypass when you have the filter element out or not. If it just goes across, I believe it does, but I'm not 100%. However, you can turn it off completely to change that filter out. So I didn't need, you know, it was only like $50. So it saved me probably about $25 on having to buy 2 cutoff valves. And then my outlet, you know, it's coming down, goes through the water filter and down into my main line, which goes to the house. And also that's teed into my pressure tank. This pressure regulator is not hooked up to anything. That's the old one. We're using this one. However, I ordered a pressure regulator that has a low pressure cutoff. It looks just like this. It goes right in this place, and it just has an extra feature that once the pressure gets down to, in my case, 20 psi. You know, this is a 3050 shallow well pump. So, you know, it cuts on at 30 psi and it turns off at 50 psi, which is perfect for my application. And make sure you get a pressure regulator with a low pressure cutoff that matches your pump. So the one I ordered, it's on its way, is a 3050 to match my pump, and it has a low pressure cutoff at 20 psi. So when my tank runs low outside, the storage tank runs low, you know, I don't have to worry about burning up my pump. It'll automatically turn off, and it'll stay off until I manually reset it, which, you know, after I refill the tank, that'll happen. So I don't have to sit here and babysit it all the time, or put in a really extravagant, you know, water regulator, pressure regulator, controller, blah, 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 which is a lot of work to hook up. And then they have one that goes in your tank, which is a lot of work to hook up. And in my case, it's more expensive and it's a big pain in the you-know-what. Versus, you know, I stumbled across one that, you know, it's like, I think all pumps should have a pressure regulator just like this one with that feature. I paid $35 for it. I should get it in a couple of days, and it'll just, you know, unscrew this one and, you know, like three wires in there or something, and just, that's it. You're done. You know, versus having to go through this extravagant long process of hooking up a $150, $200 water pressure, you know, regulator that's a dry well protector, blah, 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 you know, where the low pressure is going to accomplish the same thing, and it's just going to replace an existing part. So real simple, real cheap. That's the way to go with it. And also I had, this one came with a pressure gauge on it, and it's right at 50, right around 50 right now. And I just happen to have one. You don't need one down there for your pressure tank, but it was there, so just leave it. It's not hooked up to anything. It's just there. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. And like I said, the only reason I did this is because there's no information really out there on, you know, running a check valve on the bottom of your outlet of the water storage tank. You know, this is my first time I've ever installed one of these. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. So I look up stuff, I do some research, and nobody had anything about that water check valve, because they're all assuming that you're just running your tank as a supplement to your water well, existing water well, and your existing water well already has like the foot valve and a check valve most likely. So they don't have one hooked up to their water storage tank, and so that's why I missed it. You know, I was like, oh, but I figured it out later, you know, because of how the pump was acting, and I didn't have any leaks anywhere in the house, or any pipe leaks. It's just, you know, I was just hearing that bloop, 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 bloop every time the pump would cut out, and then, you know, a few seconds after the pump cut out, it would just kick back on because water was going backwards. You know, had 50 psi, and then it turns off, and then literally the water was going backward through the pump and back out to the storage tank, you know, and it would go down to about 20 psi. If I turned the pump off, it would stabilize around 20 psi, and that told me too I didn't have any leaks because it would stabilize, but there wasn't enough pressure to push any more water back into the tank, so that's why it's stuck at 20. So now I just put that check valve in, and everything's golden, which is good. This is a long time coming. Hope you enjoyed the video.